Good morning, guys. What a beautiful day the Father has made. Went for a ride on my bicycle yesterday afternoon. An old gentleman named Charles down here. I pedaled past his house. White truck come out and moved over, and I saw it, and I thought, oh, there's old Charles. I'm going to stop and say hi to him. Well, come to find out, it wasn't Charles. It was another fellow that was living over there at Charles's place. One of these fellows that, let's just say, I believe Mr. Charles is being taken advantage of in the kindness of his heart. But I started talking to that gentleman, and I'm like, hey, brother, how you doing? I thought you were Charles. Oh, no, I'm not Charles. But anyway, we got talking about God. And I told him, I said, yeah, I'm the flat earther guy over here that lives around the corner. He said, well, Charles been talking about that and all this. He said, what does it matter if the earth is flat or a globe? And I said, well, brother, does Jesus not teach us to live in the truth and the light? Yeah, but I don't see how that makes any difference to salvation. And my rebuke to that is, well, what does the Father tell us about those who reject wisdom? Boy, that right there opened another hornet's nest. But anyway, he wanted to talk about the Trinity or the oneness of God. And then he wanted to talk about how a lot of folks would argue over that and disrupt a Bible study over that topic right there. And his entire argument to everything, well, what does it matter to your salvation? And I told him about Satan's little season. And Mr. Charles agreed that we're living in Satan's little season. But again, he goes back to, well, what does that matter according to your salvation? I'm going to say this. The Father tells us to live in truth. He tells us what will happen to those who reject knowledge. The wisdom of this world is a joke to your Father, but true knowledge, that is a blessing. But anyway, I stood there and I talked to him, and everything that he said I rebuked using Scripture. Not my feelings, but Scripture. And he always reverts back to, what does it matter? Well, I'm not going to debate theology or eschatology or anything else with those without eyes to see or ears to hear. That gentleman wants to object to how the millennial reign has already taken place. But when I tell him, sir, please study hagiography, which is a study of the saints that ruled with Christ, he does not have time for that. He does not want to know about that, according to him. If it's not in this book, then he does not care what it says. Okay, well, there's a whole lot of things not in the Bible. Matter of fact, that King James version of the Bible he's so proud of only has 66 books. Why does the Geneva Bible, which is my Bible, the Pilgrim's Bible, have many more books and chapters than the King James Bible? Why does the Catholic Bible contain books such as the Book of Baruch, which your King James Bible does not contain? If all you study is a King James Bible, it will give you what you need to find God. Will it give you the absolute truth? No, it will not. That is true of every book ever written. But when you go and study across a wide variety of topics related to this, you quickly learn why they hid so much in the King James Bible. But like I told that gentleman, sir, I'm not worried about what you believe, because in the end, your judgment will come upon you for what you have done. My judgment will come upon me. And when I elaborated on the fact that the people who see themselves as teachers are held to a much higher standard than just the sheep, the shepherd is held to a much higher standard than the sheep. So therefore, if you are attempting to teach people about God and you don't follow the truth, you're bringing condemnation upon yourself. And like I told that gentleman right in front of Charles, if I'm speaking falsities, if I am trying to promote falsities, I invite the Father to strike me down. That will not happen because I'm not trying to lead his people astray. I'm trying to bring the flock home. If you don't understand that, that is not on you. That's between you and God. Perhaps you should work on what God puts on your heart. Because it's you that will face the judgment for your wickedness and your refusal to follow the law. You know, that fellow was so triggered by the fact that I know that the earth is flat and I can prove it. He couldn't get over that. Like I told him, I said, I can prove the sun moves, I can prove the moon moves, I can prove the stars move, I can prove the wind moves. But I cannot prove that the earth is moving using any type of experiment which adheres to the scientific method principles. Observable, repeatable, testable. I can prove that the earth is a stationary, flat, topographical, unmoving plane everywhere I stand according to these scientific principles. If you cannot prove what you believe using that, then you're believing in cartoons. Either put your faith in cartoons or put your faith in the Father. Because in the end, when we all stand before him for the white throne judgment, which is on the horizon, you will be judged for what's in your heart. I will be judged for what is in mine. Please bring yourself and your heart back to the Father and live in truth so that your soul may be redeemed. And when people talk, no matter who it is, and I used to be terrible about this, okay? When people talk to you, actually listen to what they say. Listen to hear, not to rebuke. Listen to gain understanding, not to argue. Is that so hard in today's society, in the age of the little season? That's a call you have to make for yourself. With that, you guys stay blessed. Bye-bye.